Okay, I'm back this week, and there's a lot that's been going on since I think about 45 days. We're talking about oil leak and in the Gulf, and BP's reaction to it. Um, Now, when it first happened, I thought it was going to be fixed in a matter of hours. So it wasn't something that I even imagined would take as long as it has. Um, so when it happened, I thought, okay, that's terrible. It's happened before, like in tankers and stuff, and they can handle it. But they just kept up with all these experiences about, I mean, excuses about the depth and it's too deep and it's, well, whatever reason they came up with. But I think the main problem we had is that as much as we knew that there was a leak, they weren't giving us, BP was not giving us accurate information. As in, they weren't giving us the video feeds that they had or telling us much about it. And it took them about 40 days, that's over a month, to finally make a decision about cutting the pipe shorter and then putting a top on it, which was the third attempt. So all of it seems a gross negligence. Of, as, but the good news is BP makes a lot of money and they can afford to clean up, and they will clean it up. Or so, I mean, there are already cases involved to make sure that they are held responsible, and all the other companies like Transocean or whatever, they're all held equally accountable. Although I think BP will have to uh, pay for most of the mess, and the fishermen who've lost their livelihood. So BP made about $6 billion in the recent quarter, so I'm sure they can find a quicker solution, and hopefully they'll start cleaning up. Um, okay, the second thing I wanted to talk about is filibuster rule. Now, what right now, I'm happy with the House, but what really bothers me is the Senate, because that's when you can't even recognize or distinct have you can't see the distinction between a Democrat and a Republican. Some of those Democrats are not thinking right, and you know the Republicans aren't thinking right. And what ends up happening is the government becomes slow to respond, and it's often too little too late. And we can't allow something like that. It's hard enough to get a majority, but to say that you need 60 votes in the Senate, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And they have to scrap that filibuster rule, make it maybe 55, or what really makes sense is 51 is a majority, because that's how we pick the presidents, and it makes sense. And the Senate needs to catch up if they want to really serve the people. And Republicans, okay, I'm not going to go off on you guys. There's so much I can say about Republicans, but anyway. Third thing I wanted to talk about is something that I actually found one thing in common with Republican senators, like John McCain, who did want to have campaign financing reform. And I think it's about time we should do it, and we should do it before this November election. We need to change the way they run their campaigns. We need to not let them raise millions of dollars just so that they can put TV commercials and convince the American people. Now, I have a lot of respect for the American people. However, let's admit it, a lot of us are swayed who don't have the time or too busy to get the facts, who are just too busy with their lives. We get swayed by these TV commercials, and they spend millions of your money, of the campaign with your money, and they give it to TV stations to get 30-second spots or 60-second spots. I think that I think they should pass a law immediately which makes all government purpose telecasts free. That means an equal opportunity. That means the Republicans get 30 seconds, the Democrats get 30 seconds, and they can play it whenever they want. And any country, any channel that is broadcasting in the United States has to abide by the law that this is for government issue, government purpose. We can't charge money on it, and they'll get equal time. Or even if you want, they can play it back to back. So if I'm watching my favorite show on prime time, I get 30 seconds of Republican, 30 seconds of Democrat, and that's it. It's not dependent on your campaign financing. And they need to do that for this November elections. Um, and I know sometimes it seems like people aren't engaged, but that's when these kind of TV commercials really work. Fifth option is you have to legalize weed. It's just it's just capitalism. People are trying to sell things, and you're putting them in jail for selling something that's in high demand and high risk, and it's getting too expensive for our government, which is almost broke. A lot of states are in the red, and they need to somehow make the money. And what they do is they've made it a business, almost a private business. In the prisons, they build a new prison, then there's a restaurant around it, a fast food joint around it, a small motel around it, and that's how they've been doing this, and they've been expanding these prisons. And a lot of innocent people who've done nothing but go out on their entrepreneurial, capitalistic mind, which we are always brainwashing them with anyway. And they're just trying to make some money to feed their daughter or something like that. And they end up in jail for selling weed or something just out of luck, and that has to stop. Nearly half of the prison population is in jail because of selling weed, and if you're not ready to legalize it, you have to decriminalize it. And if you want to make money on it, you can put a fine on a certain amount of weed that you carry. Canada's done that, and they've been very successful at it. The other thing I want to talk about is don't ask, don't tell. I think that should be repealed, and I think that's in the process. I don't know why it's taking as long as it is, but apparently they'll get that done soon. They just made a little tweak to the issue, but I think they should repeal that and try to see how the states which have allowed gay marriage, how they're progressing, and try to make that legal. Because listen, one of the main problems is the parents. There should be a license for people who want to have kids. And some of these people are just not fit. These heterosexual couples are not fit to have kids. But they're having them, and you're putting them in their greatly run public high schools, and you're cutting wages of people who are getting bad grades, and it's a complete mess. And a lot of these gay people who are very sensitive and are great people and are good people, and they are willing to do that extra bit for their child. And you have to value that more than just it being a heterosexual versus homosexual. But it's a real commitment to a child to do that. And I think we need to just fix that theory of how gay people are less likely to get married and stuff like that. Anyway, I'm running out of time, and I hope you like the decor. This looks great. All right, see you.